Hello again, YouTube. This is Prophet D.Howard Jr. Once again, bringing truth. It's based on research of the scripture, research of history, research period. The truth is what we all need, and I'm going to give it to you. And like I always say, I may not know how to do everything there is to do when it comes to how the appearance of these broadcasts. You see things in the background. The camera angle may not be right. But just understand that I'm doing my best here, and over time I'll learn these things. Over time I'll learn how to edit these videos, because I see guys, on YouTube, Ringo for Life, Neo 196, NYTN, and others. Videos look great, much better than mine, because they probably have been making broadcasts longer than I have, and I just need to take the time to learn. But this particular broadcast, I want to talk about some of the falsehoods that are in the world. False teachings in the Christian faith. I'm going to make one on that after this. But I want to talk about, I entitled this, some of the present and coming falsehoods of Satan and his followers. There's a lot of teachings that will hit the earth, that will come to the light, that are just plainly false. And I want to get into some of those things, some of those philosophies. Plainly false. Plainly false. Things such as what was recorded on the movie The Da Vinci Code. Things like that. That Yehoshua had families and all this other weird stuff that's being put into the world, that's leading us to the place that they want us to be in at the end anyway, which is bowing down to this false Messiah that's to come and joining with him. Joining with him. Now, again, I know a lot about the secret societies, and I do a lot of research on the secret societies and things of that nature, but I'm not going to put them on here just so the video can get suspended. You just have to wait until I'm preaching in public about these sorts of things or something. Because if I put that on here, it's obvious what's going to happen. The video is going to get suspended. Channel may even be terminated. So I want to continue to bring truth to those maybe who have a computer in somewhere like Pakistan, where maybe your parents or whatever ain't at home, and you want to learn some truth while they're gone. Or somebody in the country of India, or maybe wherever else they watch these videos. I get views on my videos, from all different countries, all different backgrounds, all different cultures. And I want to continue to keep these coming if possible. If not, oh well. Hopefully, may the Most High willing, I can preach in some of these places. But I want to get into a couple of these falsehoods that are here and that are coming, that may possibly, if it's possible, kind of shake your faith, shake your foundation. The first one I want to talk about is this falsehood that Caesarion, which was Julius Caesar's son, was the person called Jesus. In English, the name Jesus, the person called Jesus. Some say that was really Caesarion. And I want to get into that a little bit. First of all, Caesarion was born in Egypt in 47 BC. Okay? Yehoshua went to Egypt to escape from King Herod, but he wasn't born in Egypt. And the prophecy that was written by the prophet Micah long before Yehoshua was even born states the following: Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little amongst the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall come forth unto me the one that is to be ruler in Israel. Watch this. Whose going forth have been from of old, from everlasting. Again, I tell you, I can't tell you enough. When you're looking for truth, when you're seeking out the truth, I want you to do the following. If this was a court case, compare the evidence of those who were not there to the evidence of those who were there, and the evidence of those who came and presented evidence before that which would take place, which the courtroom would judge, take place. So in other words, compare what Enoch said to what these agnostics and people of our generation are saying right now. Compare what the 12 apostles said, and compare the evidence of how they presented themselves in their lives, even unto the death, to what these people in this generation and the people that will come will say. Compare what's said already to what's being said right now, and compare the evidence of the two. And then tell me what you believe. Tell me what you come up with. Because you got people that's saying that the person called Jesus, his name is Yehoshua, is Caesarion. When Caesarion was a totally different person, who wasn't even born during the lifetime of Yehoshua. Now, Revelation 5 and 5, it says, And one of the elders said unto me, Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. Enoch talked about Yehoshua. John, the Revelator, talked about Yehoshua. The disciples talked about Yehoshua. Polycarp, who was a disciple of John the Apostle, talked about Yehoshua, talked about the Son of Man that came. The prophets, Isaiah 53, he talked about Yehoshua. He talked about the servant, the branch, who would come and bear the iniquities. Zechariah, many others point to this person called Jesus in the King James Version, called Yehoshua in the original versions of the recordings of the oral traditions, which spoke of this Messiah that would come. So he's not Caesarion. Caesarion was a totally different person that Cleopatra was probably cheating on Julius Caesar or whatever, and she didn't want him to kill her, so she said that Caesarion was a virgin birth, this, that, and the other. He spent time in India, this, that, and the other. They try to compare Yehoshua to him. Well, guess what? Let me crush that right now. Yehoshua was from the tribe of Judah, which is the same tribe that King David is from, that Samson was from, so on and so forth. This Caesarion is from the tribe of Dan. Now, like I told you before, in this particular broadcast, I want to deal with some of these falsehoods, because we know in our world, in our generation, the group of people and the way these people look, who think that they control everything. They think that they're descendants of the Most High and of His Messiah. The second one goes hand in hand with the first one, that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were married. Now, I look a lot on Wikipedia, and I like Wikipedia because Wikipedia, for the most part, is unbiased. They don't have a bias towards Christianity, Islam, ancient Egyptian mythology, or whatever, or any of these other faiths. They don't have a bias. And Wikipedia said there is no historical, biblical, archaeological, genealogical, or genetic evidence that supports the story that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were married. There's nothing that supports that. There was probably some people back in those days who perhaps worshiped the false goddess Diana or one of the other deities, who wrote books that would try to contradict this Messiah that we believe in, named Yehoshua. Again, there's no evidence that supports the statements made by Dan Brown and by others that say that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were married. There's no evidence to support anything that says that Jesus had kids or anything else of that nature and about that particular subject. The third one I want to get into is that the Most High cares strongly about money, and good people have most of the money. I want to talk about money. I want to talk about how people think that they're good because they have money. And I want to get into a little bit about the history of money. First of all, let's go back to this Federal Reserve Act that was passed in 1913. And by the way, JFK was killed because of what he was trying to do in relation to the Federal Reserve Act, which I want to get into. Now, the original constitutional plan for money was that the Congress would control it. The Congress would control it. Now again, I'm not going to go into details about secret societies and that, but I'm going to say some things, and you can do the research for yourself. Originally, the plan was that the Congress would control the dollar bill. But you had these groups of people, these secret groups, these families, do your research, that were controlling the banks and that wanted to control the banks. And these people caused one of the presidents who belonged to their groups to pass the Federal Reserve Act. Now JFK, there was a provision in that act that said that you can back out of the act if you pay the $1 billion required. JFK was going to pay the $1 billion, and he was going to return the monetary system back to the original constitutional plan. But he was killed 3 weeks later. And when Lyndon Johnson took office, Lyndon Johnson said, no, we ain't going to do that. We're going to keep it the way it was, the way it is. Now, you got preachers, you got people in this generation that would suggest that you're more blessed than other people who don't have money. John the Baptist didn't have any money. He was in the wilderness eating bugs, eating locusts and wild honey. He had camel hair for clothes. But you got people that think, oh, well, you ain't got money, you ain't blessed. Well, I got news for you. Turn that money over and look at the back. Examine that money carefully. Whose symbols are on it? Remember what Yehoshua said. He said, whose image is on this money? Back then. And they said, Caesar. He said, well, give unto Caesar what's Caesar's, and unto Yah what's Yah. What's Yah is your soul. He said, give your souls unto the Most High. And money, as far as money, he taught a lot of things on money. He basically, to sum it up, said there's nothing wrong with having money. It's just that money is not the blessing of the Most High. Because if money was the blessing of the Most High, then that means that those who believe in evil, who practice evil, are the blessed ones. So, again, can't say it enough. Read the Federal Reserve Act. Read, go to Above Top Secret, which is a great website for you to learn about a lot of the conspiracies and a lot of the hidden works that are going forth in our country. And the fourth and final one I want to get into with the little time I have is that presidents and elections are controlled by Yah. I want to go into this real quickly. I want to just state these facts. These are facts real quickly. All 43 U.S. presidents have European royal bloodlines. 34 are genetic descendants of Charlemagne. 19 of them are descendants of King Edward III of England. In presidential elections, the president who has closer blood type and gene to Charlemagne, they're related to Alfred the Great, to King Edward III, have always been selected. Every time. Every time. Of the 42 presidents going to Bill Clinton from the first, George Washington, 33 of them were related to Alfred the Great, King of England, and Charlemagne. Now, the Bushes are from the Percy bloodline, which changed his name to Pierce. Obama himself is related to the aristocrat named by the name of Edward Fitzrandolph, who helped found Princeton. Now again, these are things you can look at yourself. So when you go around talking about vote or die, when you go around talking about these things, know your facts. And I'm going to continue these teachings on false teachings. Continue to tune in.